to the counter press on Fiifi-Manfred. I'm grateful to have you here. Consistently, the growth has been very huge and enormous. I want to say thank you very much for choosing us on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It's another weekend with a lot of conversation about sports and what's not, and that's exactly why I am here. So let's get it rolling. But just before we go, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do what to subscribe to the channel and then turn on notifications and do choose all. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. There's a lot to unpack. Bayern Munich are beginning to have issues with Thomas Tuchel as their manager. There are lots of people who think that Tuchel is a great coach but not a great manager. There's a conversation about Chelsea. Mauricio Pochettino and his team have come out to the new list. The injury list has reduced to just 7. Reece James, Benoit Badiashile, all of them returning to the team. And it looks like on Monday, this possible lineup is going to happen. Apart from that, their classic is coming on Bayern versus Dortmund today. There's a lot of analysis. You don't want to go away. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Stick and stay. Well, let's get started. But first of all, with Erik ten Hag and my thoughts on Erik ten Hag. So I've been very consistent about my take with Erik ten Hag. Yesterday, some of the things that are going on, the fact that there's widespread reports in the UK that Erik ten Hag's players are beginning to turn on him, especially some of the senior players. And these guys do tend to his treatment of Cristiano Ronaldo's how he handled the Cristiano Ronaldo issue last season, and then of course that of Jadon Sancho. He has more like being ostracized from the club. He doesn't play, he doesn't train, nothing, and people ask questions. So the truth of the matter is, like you already know, Ten Hag has been coaching smaller teams, quote and unquote, right? So Ajax, Bayern, second division, and then now to Manchester United. It's a big leap. The leap is huge from where he was as a manager and where he is now. Here, there are bigger egos, bigger personalities, players that believe that they are there at their career and that things are supposed to be done. I just find it ridiculous for anybody to think that the players are beginning to turn on him. I don't think he has lost the dressing room just yet. I think it's just purely footballing stuff, tactical, and all of them are on Erik ten Hag and how he has managed. He has not succeeded as it stands now at being a very good manager. And I think that whilst Manchester United's problems go just beyond him, they go beyond him. It doesn't end with him, because I think that a lot of the issues at Manchester United are skin deep and they are cultural issue. I mean, a club with no sporting direction as it stands now is a little bit worrying. If there was a sporting director, he would have been at the helm to make sure that he irons out some of these differences between coaches and man and then players and whatnot. It's something that has to be done, but nobody's leading that conversation. Erik ten Hag himself will organize a meeting today and what's not, and those things do not help the club. I just think that it's not enough for you to say he has to be sacked. It's just that he's sitting on a ticking time bomb, and sooner or rather later it is going to come, because at United you want results and he's not getting results at stance now. Like people are saying, his players are beginning to turn on him. If they do turn on him, how is all of these things going to go on? And it's a big deal. I think that some of the things that he had done for himself as a manager hasn't gone on well. So you look at how he handled Anthony's players that he bought in the summer. His transfer targets have been shambolic. Mason Mount, Sofiane Amrabat has not hit the ground running. Anthony has been shambolic himself, and he needs to work these downs. He needs to get results as it stands now, and it's not coming. Casemiro has been a pale shadow of his old self. Rafa Varane, I've never known that Rafa Varane would have tactical issues and build up throughout his days as Madrid. It's only under Erik ten Hag that he has these issues, and it's a big deal for Ten Hag. And I think it's time that he really looks there and find how to reinvent himself. He needs to do some soul searching, in my opinion. He really needs to do some soul searching, because you can't just be taking a nosedive with his results and performances as the season goes on. It's shambolic. You look at the list of Manchester United attackers that have scored a goal, and it's just Marcus Rashford, 1 goal, 1 assist with an XG of more than 3. The returns are so bad, and they're underperforming almost every metric of the game. So yeah, it's a little bit worrying. So this weekend, the Dire Classica is coming on. It's a big one. The Dire Classica is coming on. Bayern versus Dortmund. And then Thursday has managed to stabilize his team on the league log. They're far off by just about a point or two away from Bayern Munich. Leverkusen is up there. Thomas Tuchel is beginning to come under a lot of pressure at Bayern. The Bayern Chiefs are beginning to ask questions of Thomas Tuchel because they believe that he's falling out to a couple of the players, and then the seven strap, anytime that he goes in there, the people that are turning their head on Thomas Tuchel. And I think this feeds into what Todd Bowley and Baghdad Bali saw when they first came to Chelsea, where they felt that Tuchel is a brilliant manager, but not necessarily a brilliant coach, but not necessarily a wonderful manager, and that they needed to cut ties with him and then move on from him. They've done it, and it's like Chelsea may be stabilizing, it hasn't stabilized. Like it's going to take some time, but it's beginning to happen at Bayern again. And you see, even at Dortmund, Tuchel had some of these issues. At Paris Saint-Germain, he had these issues. It was only at Chelsea under Mariano Granolskaya where he had that liberty. Granolskaya would just allow him to do what he wants to do because they wanted him to succeed in that regard. But at every place where he has had sporting directors, he has had people he has to report to, there have been serious issues with Thomas Tuchel and how his things have been done as a manager. So it's worrying. I don't think it's time for him to lose his job. But then if Bayern Leverkusen begin to play exactly how they are playing under Xavi Alonso, then you know that it's going to be a tough one for him to keep his job. Given that if Bayern don't win the Bundesliga, then it's going to be a big deal. It's a long season, however. It just started. It's a long season, and he would want to see that he get the best out of his play. Now, to Chelsea. So Mauricio Pochettino has had in an interview where he has mentioned a few things. The fact that most of his players are recovering from training, even Romeo Lavia is returning from injury and all of those things, and it looks as if the players are coming together. But I think the bigger question against Tottenham Hotspur on Monday is, what is the back four supposed to look like? Badia is back, Leva is in the team, Axel de Sassi is in the team, Thiago Silva, Reece James, Marco Correa are all there. How do you pick the back four? I think that's the biggest worry. Who's supposed to be Chelsea's back four against Tottenham Hotspur on Monday? Now, you look at the work Ange Postecoglou has done in terms of making sure that the players imbibe his principles in a very, very short time. It takes a long time for managers to get to this point. Maybe these are players that are almost at their peak, and it's easy for them to grasp some of these things, and they have managed to build a great net of players that now are stable in that regard. But yeah, he has done a brilliant job with Ange Postecoglou. Almost everybody beginning to understands that Postecoglou is a brilliant manager and even wonderful coach in that regard. Now, Mauricio Pochettino won in the last game in the Carabao Cup, but before that, he lost against Brentford. Brentford was a game that was going to be very difficult, like I did point out the last time. You know, when you play in games like Brentford where you have to deal with a low block and breaking them down, Chelsea are in there, and it's easy for them to get frustrated. But in games against Tottenham Hotspur, where they are going to get spaces to run into, occupation of the half spaces and whatnot, it's going to be relatively easier to play, like the Arsenal game, unlike the games against Brentford, because Chelsea are just a team made to play against these top opponents because of space manipulation, space acquisition, and all of those things that they can get against teams like that. So it sets a mouth-watering fixture between Chelsea and then Tottenham Hotspur, giving both teams and what they can do as it stands now. So that's where we are. But now, when I say you worry about the back four, you want to know which which player is going to play in the back four. I mean, I'd rather go for Benoit Bellachile and I'll go for Thiago Silva next to Benoit Bellachile. Then I'll go and play Levi Cowell as a fullback. I need 3 flat centre backs to deal with the threat of the wingers of Tottenham Hotspur. I need it. I need these players to get that job done. I need Levi Cowell, I need Benoit Bellachile, I need Thiago Silva at the back when they are dealing with these threats. Maybe at some point in time, I'm not going to start with Axel de Sassi. De Sassi is essentially a long-term replacement for Thiago Silva when he's out of the team. On the right-hand side, Reece James should walk straight into the team because you want to keep the width. You want to consistently keep Edogie and then Pedro Porro on their feet with a lot of overlapping runs from Chelsea's wingers. And of course, Cole Palmer will be on that right-hand side also with James. Cole eventually will always come inverted whilst James keep the width and plays and tries to stretch the field of play. On the other side, Mikhailo Modric has returned, but I don't think it's time for him to start. I'll still go with Raheem Sterling to keep the width and get onto the ball and get a job done. I've seen that big interview of Enzo Fernandez and Moise Caicedo. I think it's a beautiful interview where Enzo speaks of how he spoke to Moises Caicedo in the lead up to he moving to Chelsea, and when the move did come and whatnot, and he felt lucky that he was going to play next to his compatriots from the Southern American area. And then he was excited. And I think that's the thing. They are building some very good telepathic relationship. And we expect that to grow on the field of play. Of course, I'm going for still Enzo Fernandez and then my man Moises Caicedo with Conor Gallagher to lead the press. You need an aggressive presser. You need an aggressive presser. Mauricio Pochettino, in his pre-match press conference, also did allude to the fact that there is going to be Armando Broja in the subs over there for Chelsea Football Club. So possibly he may come on and get some time to play. Apart from that, Armando Broja. Now the bigger question is, who do you play as an number 9? It looks as if it's going to be Nicolas Jackson. And Jackson is low in confidence. But in games like this where he's going to get space to run into, in games like this where if you are playing the false 9, he's going to get a lot of space to run into and deal with them. He may be very important for the club. So that's with Chelsea. Good news coming from Cobham. Mauricio Pochettino getting his stuff done. It's leading up to the game. Tomorrow I'll bring you the big tactical analysis on Sunday. Big tactical analysis preview of Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspur. This is just exactly where we are now and an overview of everything. Yeah. Thank you very much. Like I always do. Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I'll see you. Take care of yourself.